Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website about reimagining your life. Thanks for joining me today to talk about, well, age versus aging. So let's get started. If you like what you hear today, please leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me a message. Thanks for joining me tonight to talk about feeling your age or maybe not quite feeling your age. I came across a fascinating article this week related to aging, but not in the way you might expect. Actually, here's the title. It is When Middle Age Arrives in Your 20s, kind of gives the punchline away. Instead, it was talking about a trend, kind of a sort of mini epidemic of young people, even those in their 20s, even some I think were close to early 20s, feeling like they've entered middle age. Now, before you laugh, it's not at all like the old song from The Who. Remember that? I hope I die before I get old. Nothing like that. No, these are generally high achievers, some even overachievers. I mean, there's really active people, but they're feeling overwhelmed by a combination of pressures from house prices, student debt, competition at work, retirement planning, children, all these things, taking care of older people. And, couple all those items along with social expectations, and like I said, caring for older family members, plus stressful events that just happen all the time, home, school, work. And many of these young people are feeling somewhat overwhelmed at a young age. So they're feeling that the big ambitions of their younger self, well, they're just no longer attainable because they no longer have the energy, and that it's kind of okay to settle down. Conversely, and actually, and as I say that, that makes me really sad when I think about that. But that's another whole story. Conversely, more than 1 in 10, over 10% of adults over 65 feel like they are still middle aged. So, what's going on with the big role reversal here? If you've been following along, you should have a pretty good idea of some of the root causes. In short, the younger people, they've lost their vision and hence their hope of being able to attain what their vision used to be. And I would say there's probably many causes for this, but some of the reasons may be, I suspect, the standard of culprits we talk about, the false realities created on social media. Well, everybody's on vacation but me. The increase in societal pressures from marketing and social media, you know, and there's an Audi ad from a few years ago that they aired in China, and got totally caught red-handed on it, comparing women to used cars, and there's lots of ads of that same ilk, of just if you don't have this, well then you're really not worth much, and the list goes on. And plus, of course, there's the general societal expectations that are kind of drilled into our consciousnesses from every angle on a daily basis in TV ads, radio ads, social media, as we mentioned, everywhere, papers, no matter what. If you loved your family, you take them to Disney World. Every picture is someone carefree with the keys to the new home and the new car, and they never have a payment, of course. They never talk about that. You know, Everyone else is meeting their spouse or significant other for lunch at a fancy restaurant, and there's no concern about schedules or anything. And you have to go to college, of course. I mean, you have to go to college, etc., etc. Society is always telling us what we have to do. Now compare this to the 10% of older adults over 65 who still feel like the middle aged. Chances are they've worked to take care of their health, starting with a good deal of suspicion towards the FDA's food pyramid. Sorry, guys, that's been called out so many times, hardly even worth bringing up. And all the health foods marketed by the multinational food manufacturers. I can't tell you how many things I see in the health aisle that start with the first ingredient. The first ingredient is sugar. Yeah, that's healthy. Right? Many of these people I know in that category, and I do know a number of them, also tend to kind of march to their own drummer, as it were. Don't you know? If you don't like my 20-year-old car, well, I like not having to make a car payment. Or think it's silly to keep learning when you're older? Well, I like being respected by my peers and others because I can talk about current events and technology without making excuses about how I could never learn to do that. It's all about your mind shift and your mind attitude. In short, these are people who took control of their lives in many different ways. As and we've discussed this, that there's many positive physical and psychological benefits when you feel that you're in control or doing things to try and regain control of your life. Not the least of which is when you do those things, it allows them to be more active generally. Just if you make one of your points to go out and meet people once a week, Well, that has huge health benefits. It goes way beyond just getting in the car, driving to a restaurant, having dinner with somebody, and coming home. There's all sorts of psychological benefits to that. There's health, but and that psychological benefit then drives a bunch of actual physical health benefits. Many of us grew up under the threat of nuclear war, as you may recall, in the 60s. And, Russia was moving nuclear missiles onto Cuba. Talk about yikes, just around the corner. And where I happen to live, actually, we were in a priority one zone. I was roughly halfway distant between New York City and a bunch of SAC, Strategic Air Command bases, farther north from here. And so there was no doubt that we would be wiped out in the first wave of things. And so what did we do? We practiced drills to survive. We listened to studies of how to build bomb shelters. But most of all, we prepared to confront the future and move beyond whatever challenges may occur. And what about many of today's young people? Well, they've been raised in a culture that values kind of groupthink and being part of the crowd of cool people, dressed differently, or and this one I love, or if you use an Android phone in a lot of schools, well, all your friends kind of pile on and attack you on social media for being so weird or out of touch. They're fed, the young people are fed this constant diet of it's hopeless news. There's no solution unless the government does something, or the world government does something, or somebody else does something, but certainly there's nothing you can do about it. Hurricanes come through your area and you just kind of wait and hope the government shows up to save you. I have friends in Lyons, Colorado, and back in September of 23, September of 2013, I apologize, September 2013, much of the town was washed away, and I think it was a 500-year flood. It was really quite the event. And FEMA came in eventually after a couple of days, and they told the people, you got to leave, right? You got nothing, you got no sewer, you got water. It's probably going to be years before the town will be inhabitable again. Everybody should just get out. But these are Rocky Mountain individualists, and they didn't agree. And many of these people were quite a bit younger than me. But again, they loved their town, they knew what they could do, they knew they could work together. And so they got basic services function again within a couple of weeks, secondary services going within a few weeks after that. Everybody pulled together to do what each person could do, and rather than stand around waiting to be saved, they made the solution themselves. By that next summer in 2014, the Rocky Grass Bluegrass Festival, which plays in Lyons, returned to Lyons, along with all the people that came to stay in town. Was everything perfect? Nope. But FEMA had said it was hopeless, and everyone should just forsake the town. And I can tell you it was a whole lot better than the government said it could be. But that attitude has become rare. And when you feel helpless, it's easy to get beaten down and lose hope. When you lose hope, you lose energy, you lose ambition, and you lose faith in the situation ever changing. And when you feel empowered, the exact opposite things happen. You feel like you still have options, not necessarily the same ones you had yesterday or 20 years ago, but options nonetheless. And that means that most likely you still feel energized towards working towards your goals and your vision. That's why people who are 75 can still feel middle-aged, while people in the mid-20s can feel like they're just past the prime and kind of living in the midlife or later part of life. We've talked about how to address this, and we'll do it again in the future. But there's a huge takeaway here. You really do have an enormous amount of control over how you react to life and the resulting benefits or lack thereof on how you feel about life. Obviously, there are situations which are more challenging than others, but we always have the option to make changes or to at least change how we react to a situation. Just taking even tiny steps towards our vision can have a huge impact on our attitude and on our health. Many of these young people, they're being beaten down by societal norms that have no value in their lives, but they've been told that these norms are critically important to live a full life. This results in them feeling like failures when, by many statistics, they're actually a very successful generation, but they don't feel that way. But everything that's dragging them down can drag you down as well. And that's important to keep in mind. Because before you tisk the young people, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what lies am I believing that may be causing me to not value myself as much as I should? You might be surprised at your own answers, because the same social forces that are affecting the young people are affecting the older generations as well. oftentimes in even more obvious ways and with more deeply embedded biases. Plus, this is a great opportunity to act as a role model, not an in your face critic, but just as someone who can lead by example to your younger friends and associates. When they ask, where do you get all that energy? Tell them, I try to take care of my health. I have strong spiritual beliefs, whatever sort they may be. I have many goals I would love to complete. I feel I have a lot more to offer the world. All those things that drive you and help you to get up every day and just be excited about life. This isn't to preach to anybody. It truly is to share. Hopefully, they'll be curious enough to ask you for more information, and then you can share your secrets to being happy at 70 plus years old and still feeling like a middle ager. So that's it for the evening. Simple homework tonight. Think about what you know about your age. If you should have aches and pains, if you should be forgetful, whatever it is, then ask yourself, what would happen if you just started the day off saying the opposite thing and trying to live that day in that new belief? That you're mostly pain free because everyone has aches and pains, even young people. So don't say, oh, there's an ache. Oh, see, I was lying to myself. No, you know, if I end the day and I don't have some new aches and pains, it means I didn't do enough that day. So just start off with a whole different thought process, and then just write things down as you go through your day, because you have a lot of great thoughts coming in your mind all the time, and it's not that you're forgetful. It's that now your mind is just full of a lot of information, and you want to keep track of the new ones that are coming in. Stop putting everything in a negative sense and look at the positive sides of it. Work from a positive place, not a critical one, and see if you can start to feel better about yourself after a few days. So again, please remember, that's it for the evening. And as always, remember, there's many wars going on right now. Things are kind of a mess in a lot of different ways. But that's not to say things are hopeless. Just things are in a challenging state right now. UKR7.com is a list of links to places that support Ukraine. They can certainly use support, especially during this transition period. Nobody's really sure what's going to happen in a few months, and in any sense, there's things going on. The fall of the government in Syria changed a lot of dynamics in the Mideast. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Like I say, wars in Ukraine, wars in the Mideast, wars in Africa, just and South America has its own issues going on, by sure. So keep all these people in mind, and not just, where is my other link? They ran away. There it is. World Central Kitchens, the another big organization we support. They work in disaster areas throughout the world. Anytime something like a hurricane or something like that comes through, they're there. They help the people. Typically with food is their specialty, but they make use of local resources, which has a double benefit of not only getting people fed, but also supporting the local economy. So while everyone else is still trying to figure out how they're going to load all the aid ships and get them down to a place that no longer has a port to pull the aid ship into, they're usually already on the ground helping the people. WorldCentralKitchen.org, great place. But as we've talked about, those are two ways you can donate financially to places. There's many other locally places. Right now it's Christmas time, obviously. A lot of groups are collecting either food or gifts for kids or whatever. A lot of ways you can donate that way. And if you're just not in a position or a mindset to donate, remember, there's a lot of ways you can help people. Just one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. We talk about that a lot. You look outside yourself. Just smile at somebody when you meet them on the street. Be pleasant to somebody. Have a little conversation with them. Take it beyond just hi. Hi, how you doing? I like that. You look really sharp today. Whatever it is, just something to make them know that somebody's thinking about them and caring for them. Makes a huge difference. Might save, might change the world. And it literally might change the world. So that's it. Again, thank you as always for stopping by. If you found something interesting or useful, please pass it along. Please subscribe, hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week. Remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone. See you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thank you.